back to my channel. Naturally Frankie here. So in today's video I will be sharing my testimony with you guys. I have done an introduction video, I have done a get to know me tag, I have done a Haitian tag, and now it's time to get serious. So I have told you guys several times that this channel is going to be a Christian based channel, and I want to start it off by sharing my testimony with you guys. I was gonna do a video full of like memories and pictures and stuff, and I had already written out like a script about my testimony and all that stuff, but I wanted this to be more personal because this channel, I don't want to like hide anything from you guys, because as a fellow Christian, I know how difficult it can be for us to be in this world where so many things that God doesn't want us to do is normalized, you know, like having sex before marriage, or like the controversial topics of like is being gay okay, stuff like that. I don't know how serious you guys want to get on this channel, but me, I'm not holding anything back. And I know it's so hard to be a serious Christian nowadays. It's so difficult, it's so hard, especially if you want to fit in with everyone else. You know, like there are certain things you can't do, certain things you can't say, certain places you can't go, certain situations you can't put yourself in. So I don't know, like it's hard, but I just want you guys to know that it is possible. Not that I'm perfect or anything. I refuse to say that I'm perfect, because there was only one perfect and sinless man that ever walked this earth, and that was Jesus Christ. And I'm not gonna lie and say that I haven't made any mistakes. I'm not gonna lie and say that like my life is all put together, because it's not, because I miss devotional time sometimes I feel like God is not here. Sometimes I can't feel his presence. There are times where I don't want to read my Bible. There are times where, you know, I've allowed my emotions to get in the way of my thinking. You know, there are times where I've allowed my heart to think for me, and the Bible says that the heart is deceiving, you know. And you know, there's just, I can't say that I'm perfect, essentially. But, you know, as iron sharpens iron, so one man will sharpen another. You know, we have to be there for each other, and we learn from each other's mistakes. And that's like why testimonies are so important, because most of the time we tend to keep things private because we're ashamed, or we tend to keep things private because we don't think anyone will understand. We think that we're going to be judged for it. But there is such a beautiful thing about someone saying, hey, I've been through that. Hey, you're not alone in whatever it is that you think you're going through, because I've gone through it. And you'd be surprised, really. You'd be surprised at how many people have gone through whatever it is that you're walking through. But you have to be open to that. You have to be open to be transparent with others, to share your testimony, because that can be an inspiration to somebody, or that could just like help someone through a tough time that they're going through. And so that's why I'm going to share my testimony with you guys today. And I'm sorry about the long drawn out introduction, but yeah, let's get started. So whenever I share my testimony, I always make sure to point the spotlight at my mom. My mom is like the biggest Jesus freak that I know. So whenever I tell my testimony, whenever I like talk to my friends or anything like that, like they know, because I've said that like so often, because I truly believe it. She's like the biggest influence as to like my faith now, to where it is now. Like everything that she imitated when I was younger, everything that I saw her do when I was younger has rooted itself within my faith now, has been part of my experience. You know, I've seen how strong she was through the trials, you know, through spiritual warfare that I didn't even know was spiritual warfare at the time. But, you know, now that I have gone through it, I have experienced it, and I remember, oh yeah, my mom went through that, and this is how she dealt with it. So it's helped me so much, and her faith has been such a big influence in my own faith, in my own walk with God. And so I have to give that credit. You know, you got to give credit where credit is due. But my mom, she was constantly praying. She was constantly worshiping. She was constantly like lifting God's name up, like letting everybody know how amazing he was. She had no problem sharing her faith with anybody. And yeah, I love that. I appreciated that so much. And I just like seeing her do that, it gave me the confidence to do that, because I was the type of kid that had God as an imaginary friend. Like, I would talk to him all the time. I would ask him to do things and it would happen, and that blew my mind. Like, I would ask for something to happen, or I would say that something was gonna happen, like after having a conversation with God, and it would actually happen, and I'd be like, what? So essentially that like got me to the point where nobody, when I tell you nobody could tell me that God didn't exist. Nobody could tell me that God didn't exist, because how can you even compete with the proof? You know, I had experienced it. And so that became my norm. I was always the kid that was in church. I read my Bible. I joined like the kids choir, and at some point I joined the adult choir. I was always doing something in the church, always doing something in the church, always doing something to please God. But at one point along the way, I stopped doing things for God, and I started doing things for the approval of others. That's still something that affects me till this day. I love when people love me. I hate when people do not like me. I want to be accepted. I want to be loved. And that came from that. You know, I was constantly working. Now that I realize that, I was constantly working for the approval of God. Even though now I've realized that I've always had it, because as I have learned, there was nothing we did to make God love us. So there's nothing that we could do to make him stop loving us, you know? Because that's not something that we earned. That's not a right that we earned. That's not a privilege that we earned. He just gave his love, you know? He gave it out freely, and he asked for nothing in return. And so, I don't know, I wanted to do everything to please him. I was in all the plays. I try to be a leader in so many things that involve God, but essentially it turned around to me just wanting the approval of adults, because parents would compare their children too. They would be like, oh, why can't you be more like Francesca? Why can't you do this, look more like Francesca? And it made like the children not like me, but at the same time, I felt like I had a responsibility to be good. I had a responsibility to always have a good or right appearance. I felt like I always had to put up a perfect front. And when I tell you, I went through so much as a child that I never felt comfortable enough. I never felt comfortable enough to share those things with anybody else, because I felt like I had the image where, you know, like when someone just looks like they have everything together, and so when they say that something is wrong, you're just like, who, you? Yeah, right. Like, how could you possibly have anything wrong with you? And so that's how I felt. I felt like nobody would listen to me. I felt like nobody would believe me. I felt like, you know, everybody would give me the side eye, and that's not like such a good environment. It's not a good environment to grow spiritually, and I wasn't growing spiritually. But when I turned 12 years old, that was like my first form of spiritual warfare, like, ever. Well, now, like, if I'm looking back at it and I want to pinpoint like that one point in my life where everything just started to, you know, crash down, it was when I turned 12 years old. Like, before that, when I tell you I was involved, I was doing this, I was doing that. Not that I wasn't involved afterwards, but at that point, that year, my uncle died that year, and it wasn't just that, but it was just like, I had asked God for him to protect my family. I prayed for him to look out for them, to, you know, I felt like I should have been excluded. My family should have been excluded from any bad things that happened. That's how I felt. And when he died, I felt so betrayed. Okay, when I tell you I felt so betrayed. But at the same time, at that point, I never knew that it was okay to be angry with God. I never knew that it was okay to be agitated with God. But at the same time, like, now that I do know better, of course it's okay, you know? You get agitated with your own parents, with your siblings, with friends, you know? If God calls us friends, we should be able to share those things with each other. Like, if one selfish human being, like, we want everything for ourselves to go our way and all that, and when it doesn't, okay, like, we have emotions, we're gonna get angry, we're gonna get mad. We're made in the image of God. Even he got angry, he got mad, like, a lot in the Bible, you know? There's shown so many times in the Bible where God gets angry, he gets jealous. He says it himself, he's a jealous God, you know? And so many times, like, when Moses was taking the Israelites out of Egypt, he threatened to kill those people so many times because they were so ungrateful. You know, like, so God has emotions. So why would he say that it's not okay for us to express our emotions to him? But when you have a friend, when you have someone that you're really close to, you want to share those things with them. You feel comfortable enough to go to them and be like, hey, I'm so mad right now. This and this happened. You're just expressing yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And so at that time, I didn't know that that was okay. I like held that in, and I didn't really even realize that until much later on. I figured out that, wow, I've been angry at God about this for so long. I need to let it go. And so that year, I'd walk into church and it wouldn't be the same anymore. I used to walk in the church and I'd feel so light. I'd feel weightless. I'd feel like the weight of the world was not on my shoulders. Anything that would happen before I'd walk into the church, like, I'd walk in and I'd feel his presence. I'd feel his presence and I'd, like, get happy instantly. But I'd walk into church and nothing. I wouldn't feel anything. I was so angry. But at the same time, since I never admitted to it, since I never really I had it in my heart, but since I never verbally said it, I'm a person that's really good at, like, throwing things to the side or throwing things to the back of my mind and, like, leaving it, forgetting it, and just like it never happened. And so after that, like, I was like, dang, like, what's wrong, God? Like, what happened? Are you mad at me? Are you annoyed? Like, did I do something wrong? What can I do to fix it? It was just like a roller coaster going around. And I talked to pastors, I talked to my mom, I talked to, you know, like, nonchalantly, like, hey, what would happen if, like, you know, someone didn't feel God's presence anymore, like, stuff like that. Not, you know, I felt like I had an image to uphold, and so I would never say, oh, I feel this in this way, so what do I do about it? So that went on for a while, and when I tell you, I went to a Bible study more, I got involved more, I read my Bible more, I prayed more, I sang more, I did so many things to try to fix it. But when I saw that, like, nothing was happening, this went on for, like, a 5-year time period. When I saw that nothing was happening, you guys, I was just like, okay, fine, I give up. You don't love me anymore, you don't like me anymore, we're not friends anymore, I don't know what the issue is, so, alright, well, whatever, goodbye. And so, like, I tried to stop going to church, I tried to stop going to Bible studies, I tried stopping going to, like, anything that the church had, but like I said, my mom goes to church Sunday through Saturday, Monday through Sunday, and so she would drag me to everything. You know, I tried to use the homework excuse, project excuse. I tried to use the, I could never use the I'm tired excuse, because she'd be like, if you make time for God, God's gonna make time for you. So it never really worked, but I don't know. I just, I tried and it didn't work, but I'm really grateful for her like dragging me to church, because if she hadn't and she allowed me to live in that feeling of anger, that feeling of betrayal, that feeling of abandonment, I probably would have gone like way off the rails. But luckily, I didn't, and here I sit. But that summer, I went an entire summer, like my junior year, so like that went for 5-year time period. Nobody else saw that anything was wrong. Nobody saw that anything was wrong because I was such a great actress. I never showed that anything was wrong because I didn't want anyone to judge me for it, if that makes any sense. But my junior year of high school, so many things happened. When I tell you so many things happened, so many things happened. So many things. And my grades started to slip up. I fell into like a deep depression. I don't know what it was. I was like sad all the time. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to get involved with anybody. I didn't want to go to anything. I didn't want to do anything. I was just a mess. And that's when I realized that like it had reached a breaking point, and I was like, okay, I need God. When I had God in my life, I was more peaceful. I had all my stuff together, and I mean, like at this point, I knew how to act. I knew how I was expected to be, and so like I did it, but at the same time, I wasn't feeling it in my heart. And so that summer, I was like, okay, God, I still don't know what the issue is, but I know that I need you in my life, so get it together, okay? Let's get it together. We can work it out. Don't know what it is, but you're gonna let me know eventually. And so all that happened. Then my senior year went like so much better than my junior year. And then that summer, no, the day before move-in day to college, I got baptized, and I got water baptized, and then I went to school the very next day. When I tell you guys that, like, I'm gonna make that a story all on its own. I'm gonna make a story time about the day that I got baptized. So many things happened on that day. I prayed about it, and then I was like, okay, it's time for me to get baptized. I made the decision. I was serious about it, and I wasn't changing my mind. But I mostly did it because I was going to school, and my mom was like, you know, once you get to school, you can't be doing this and this and this and that. And I didn't want to fall into any traps because I knew the enemy was coming down hard already in my life the year before, and I did not want him to feel like he had another chance. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get baptized, because that's gonna be like a symbol, something that's gonna remind me constantly if I ever do have the idea or think about doing anything bad. And so yeah, I got baptized. Then I went to school, and I joined an organization called Chi Alpha, and I got involved in their Bible study, weekly Bible study, which is called a life group over there. And I just like, I grew in my faith. I learned so much more about the Bible. I grew in community with other people. It was amazing. I grew so much. This was only last year, but I grew so much last year. And then I made the decision to become a leader because I had such a great leader. She like helped me so much. She helped me learn so much about myself. She helped me to come into acceptance of who I am, you know, walking into the daughtership, you know. I'm the daughter of a king, you know. I can't just be doing anything, saying anything, you know, all that stuff. But now I know, you know, that I have power over the enemy, that I have power over my own life. And I wanted to do that for other girls, even if it was just one girl. So I decided to become a leader. And this past semester was my first experience as a leader. When I tell you being a leader is difficult, it's so difficult. I applaud every pastor, missionary, leader, any form of leader out there. Leading is difficult. It is so hard. But like, when I tell you it's hard, okay? But it's also very rewarding. It's also very rewarding, and I don't know, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm still growing now. I'm been struggling a little bit with my Bible reading and wanting to do my devotional life because I don't want to get up in the morning. But at the same time, it's pretty good, and I still have more to go because tomorrow my testimony could change because something radical could happen in my life. My testimony is not going to be the same in the next, few months, and in a year, in 5 years, my testimony is not going to be the same because it's something that is constantly changing. I hope that this video was interesting. I hope that this video was inspiring to somebody. I hope that, if my testimony is similar to yours, like, let me know down below, because don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Don't allow other people to make you scared to share your testimony. Don't let other people make you afraid to, come to know who you are, because that's literally like the best feeling ever. But yeah, share your testimony with somebody else and see how it changes someone's life. My little brother, who is my cameraman, come here. My cameraman right here. He wants me guys to tell you guys to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and help us get to 10,000 subscribers. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah. He wrote it down on a piece of paper and was like, anyways. But thank y'all for watching so much. Please be sure to comment down below. As I said before, questions, comments, let me know your testimony if we have a similar testimony. We have to band together because we can't do this life alone, because this world is for the enemy. Like, the earth is for the enemy. He is ruling over it, and we stand out. We stand alone. We are not made to fit in. We are not made to fit the mold, you guys. So embrace it, and just, be sure to live in that love, live in that acceptance, live in that knowledge that you're greater and you're better than any of that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.